Good? Good to go? Okay, let's call the meeting to order. Stand for the singing of O Canada. O Canada, our home and native land, true faith, true love, in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, a true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land, glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Record of attendance, Linda, you good? Do I ask that question every time? Declarations of conflict of interest. Approval of agenda, any additions or deletions? Councillor Langell.
Yes, Your Worship, I have three very short items. Christmas promotion.
Okay, I'm going to put these under 10. So 10A, Christmas promotion.
Yes.
Okay.
IODE, framed letter.
Okay, and that's under 10B.
And performance review.
Performance review under 10C.
Correct.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Dawes, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. One very quick one, email. Or
Under
emails.
10D, we'll put email.
Thank you.
10D. Anything else for additions or deletions? Councillor McIsaac, go ahead.
Your Worship, thank you. There was one I had under new business signing of contracts, and I don't know if that was circulated. Linda, did you circulate that earlier, or? It's not on the agenda? Okay, great. Thank you then, Your Worship.
Was that a deletion anyway?
It's deletion, and it'll be brought up at the Committee of the Whole.
Okay, good. Thank you. Can I have a motion, please, for approval of agenda? Deputy Mayor? Second by Councillor Dawes. All those in question? Question's been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Approval of minutes. Town Council, December 4th, 2013. So moved by Councillor McIsaac, second by Councillor Dennis. Question's been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Town Council, December 12th, 2013. Moved by Councillor McIsaac, second by Councillor Dennis. Question's been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Committee of the Whole, December 20th, 2013. Moved by Councillor McIsaac, second by Deputy Mayor. Any discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Council meeting, December 20th, 2013. Moved by Councillor Dawes, second by Councillor McIsaac. Discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Okay, business, commemorative coin for legal tender. And the motion is, this is CAO. Did you want to speak to that? Because I know he's been looking for that.
Sure.
Go ahead.
I'll speak briefly on this. This is very similar to during the 250th, we had a commemorative coin issued in the town, a special coin, and it was very popular that year. I think there were two issues of it, Councillor Langell, two issues of it. One of the key elements to a commemorative coin for coin collectors is that it be actually legal tender. And so what this motion does is it allows them to issue the coin, and it makes the coin legal tender within the town of Yarmouth.
Okay, so the motion on the floor is that council approve the Chamber of Commerce request to issue commemorative coins for the startup of the Nova Star ferry service, and that the coin be legal tender in the town of Yarmouth. So moved by Councillor McIsaac, second by Councillor Dennis. Councillor Langell, go ahead.
Just a semantic thing, Your Worship. I notice in the motion it says commemorative coins, and then it says that the coin. Are we dealing with a coin, or are we dealing with coins? I am assuming we're dealing with one coin, so maybe
Yeah.
a friendly amendment, the S be dropped on commemorative coins.
Certainly. Thank you. Okay, any further discussion? Questions? Did you have a question?
Yes, I just want to know, is there any cost involved to the town? No?
No. No cost. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried, so we can let him know that right away. Commemorative coin, marketing plan, Councillor Dawes.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is, we all received an email with regards to an offer of submitting a marketing plan, and thank you to the CAO. He did take the time to acknowledge, send the acknowledgement of it. And now, my question is, what's our time frame on this? Are we going to be putting out requests for others?
Oh, go ahead, CAO.
Your Worship, I had occasion to speak with Mr. Bishop, because he's given this some consideration, speak with him earlier this week to get an idea from his perspective, the kind of budget that we would be required to have for this sort of activity. He gave me a number, or range, I should say, to think about. So for the Committee of the Whole meeting in 2 weeks, I'll have a recommendation for you in terms of where we can find that money this year to proceed. And as well, I spoke with you, Your Worship, earlier today about putting scope around exactly what we would want the consultant to do and what we are able to do ourselves. And so defining the request for proposals and getting the budget together. So potentially within the next few weeks.
Yep. Good?
Am I on?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. My only thought about that was, we're getting closer and closer to the time where the ferry's coming, and we just don't want to run out of time. That's all. We don't want to feel the time pinch, that's all. Thank you.
Councillor Langell?
Your Worship, since it is an agenda item and it does appear in the agenda, I would like to make a motion that this be referred to Committee of the Whole to make sure it's not lost in the shuffle.
Okay, so moved. Second by Councillor Dennis. Any more discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor? Contrary? Motion carried. Veteran status, Mr. Steele. Go ahead, Councillor Langell.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would like to make a motion that we grant veteran status in the Yarmouth Fire Department to Mr. Ernest Steele.
Second that motion.
Moved by Councillor Langell, second by Councillor McIsaac. Discussion? Don't have to. Councillor McIsaac? go
Yes,
ahead.
thank you, Your Worship. Your Worship, Mr. Steele has given somewhat of a long period of time in the service of volunteer firemen in the town of Yarmouth, and it's a privilege and an honor to award him this granting him his wish to be a lifetime member, and it's people like himself that make things possible for our safety in the town of Yarmouth, and I just like to make sure that the public recognize that Mr. Steele has been, I think, a firefighter for the last 30, 35 years, Jeff?
39.
39 years. I was trying to find it here, but I read it earlier, and it's just 39, here it is here. 39 years is a long period of time, and he's seen a lot of things happening, and it's an honor to grant his wishes. So I second that, and I leave it open to any other comments that any other councillor wish to make on his behalf.
Good, thank you. Is there any more discussion? Questions been called? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Reports. Citizen Advisory Committee. So Communities in Bloom, Councillor Landro, that's you?
We had our meeting yesterday, and I apologize to council with the timing, but we had our meeting yesterday. There was numerous things discussed, including our long-term strategic plan, which we hope to have to you soon. However, there were 3 items that did come up that are budget or timely, and the first motion I'd like to make on behalf of our committee, Communities in Bloom, is that the town of Yarmouth accept the invitation from the Communities in Bloom to participate in the 2014 national competition in the 5,001 to 10,000 population category, and I've attached a copy of the letter of invitation from National Communities in Bloom. That is my motion.
I second that motion.
So moved and seconded by Councillor McIsaac.
Just for information of council, to get an invitation to participate, you have to have a certain standard, and we've maintained that standard for the last number of years, so we're quite pleased to be back in it. To advise council, there is a cost involved, which we have in our budget anyway, but I think it would be very, very good if we could continue in this process. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Questions been called? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Number 2.
Thank you, Your Worship. We had quite an excellent animated discussion. As you know, Your Worship, we have been doing a lot of work in Frost Park starting with the 250th and right through Communities in Bloom, working with the town, has been doing a fair amount of work with the Frost Park project, and we did with the Heritage Committee work with the Cenotaph project. The Communities in Bloom now would like to explore the possibility of expanding our light show, shall we say, in the town during Christmas season to bring back Candy Cane Lane. If you will recall, we got some very good publicity over the Christmas period, and we've been driving home over the last 4 years that we own. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, even though it's an urban legend and there's absolutely no proof, but what the heck, it's fun, we might as well try it. So consequently, the Communities in Bloom Committee is asking council just simply to have staff investigate the costs of maybe the purchase of some of these LED style candy canes along Yarmouth Main Street. And I will caution the intent here of Main Street would be from Milton right through to Argyle Street. So we're not just including, you know, the downtown core. We want the entire town part of this. It may be inexpensive, it may be inexpensive, but it doesn't cost anything to investigate except for some staff time and to come back to our committee with a recommendation. And where we're in an advisory committee, we're not in a position to ask staff to do this, so we're asking council to approve the direction to staff to look at it. Rodney Doucette sits on our committee. He would come back to us. We will then make a recommendation to council. So therefore, the motion is that staff be directed to investigate the costs of illuminated LED candy canes to be placed along Yarmouth's Main Street over the next year, thus reinstating Candy Cane Lane during future Christmas holiday seasons.
Moved and just about everybody seconded it.
I asked a
Councillor
question.
McIsaac, go
Thank
ahead.
you, Your Worship. It says along Main Street over the next year, so are we committing to do it next year, or we're just asking, just looking for the cost? Okay, great, thank you.
Fairly timely fashion, because we like to, if it's inexpensive, we'd like to get it maybe in this year's capital budget. The committee knows that, you know, just for the background of council, when we started the Frost Park project, there were certain bugs we've worked out. I mean, staff have learned a lot, so the type of lights to get, the type of lights not to get. We've had to replace some lights because we just didn't get the right type. So now I'm pleased that our public works staff and our parks and ground staff are becoming quite light professionals, and so is Mike Ryan with Ryan Electrical. We now know the type we need, so it would be nice to see Mr. Doucette and Mr. Ryan look at these things and say, okay, this is the type that you need, and yes, it might be an expensive light, and yes, it might be a little rich to do all in 1 year. We may have to phase it in over a period of 2 or 3 years, but the intent is let's get a cost, because I remember as a kid, and Jim remembers probably as well, and many of you do, the old candy cane lane that we used to have. It was quite neat, and it goes along with our theme of lighting the town. The intent of the committee is that these would replace the wreaths. So we wouldn't be putting the wreaths up, we'd be putting the candy canes up every year. So there would be some, even though it's not a large amount of money, it'd still be some slight saving to the town in the long run. So that's the intention, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Dawes?
Thank you, Your Worship. This would make a lot of people happy. A lot of people throughout all of town. I know that these lights here in Frost Park, they've gotten their share of criticism since they've been put up. But I think that we can all guarantee that Candy Cane Lane, the resurrection of Candy Cane Lane, will not get too much at all, no, because prior to Christmas, when everyone was getting ready and decorating, and a lot of people also were taking it upon their own initiative. They were decorating parts of town themselves. Everyone over the age of pick a number that remembers Candy Cane Lane, everyone was lamenting and saying, we want Candy Cane Lane back. See, right here, yes. So I think that's going to be getting a lot of support from everyone.
Questions been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Communities in Bloom Committee has been working for the past 6 months over the possibility of putting together in February, the dates February 21st and 22nd, a Ready for Spring Garden Symposium. Basically what it is a series of workshops. We have been investigating the feasibility of it. We've looked at it, and we're quite comfortable that we should be able to offer between 8 to 10 different workshops on everything from how to care for your trees to how to plant proper, everything from food gardens to edible landscapes to pruning bushes, etc. And we're going to be bringing in a number of individuals who have volunteered and local individuals to come in and participate. It's open to the public. There's not intended to be any charge. And there will be some expenses incurred with this, and we're asking, it's something that we did not budget in our budget in Communities in Bloom, and where it's in this fiscal year, we're asking the town to consider possibly assisting us in this to see if we can't make it happen this year. The reason we're doing it is in February, because people actually start thinking. Yarmouth, if you recall last year, Your Worship, spring started a little early here now. Probably this year it'll start a lot late, the way the weather patterns are, who knows. And we actually had our first peepers coming out in March, and part of this project is to start a peeper project where we're going to do a peeper watch for the first spring frogs, because we're the first place in Canada, we believe, where the peepers appear, and we want to really push that a little bit because we do have a little bit of a treasure trove there. So for discussion, I'd like to make a motion that the town of Yarmouth sponsor a Ready for Spring Gardening Symposium at the Yarmouth Consolidated Memorial High School on February 21st and 22nd to the amount of $1,500.
So moved and seconded by Councillor McIsaac. So I just have a question. You have a budget, though, Communities in Bloom, but you just didn't put this in.
That's right. This came out after last year's budget came in, and this was something that came out as a result of our judging this year. And it was a project that was suggested, I believe, by one of our national judges, say that some communities are doing this. And we kind of gauged the community, and we were getting a lot of favorable response that people would be very interested in a lot of this. And, you know, we may even have some of our own town staff that might find some of these sessions very worthwhile. It would be like an all-day Saturday session, 3 sessions at the high school, and then Friday night we'll have like an opening here at Town Hall. Is what we'd like to do, is use the Town Hall on the Friday night for an opening and have it like a general speaker come in and a few welcomes, and then kind of cut it for the Saturday and then do the whole Saturday session up at the high school.
Sounds good. Yep, Councillor McIsaac.
Will be to the CAO. Do we have $1,500 in this year's budget, or do we take it from next year's budget out of the Community in Bloom's budget next year, or how do we do this? Just a question.
Go ahead, CAO.
We'll look for it. It's $1,500. I'm sure.
It's good. It's money well spent.
I'm sure we can find it.
We can find it?
Yeah, I'm sure we can. So I just can't tell you exactly where.
No,
at
I
this moment.
just want to make sure, because a lot of these 1,500s, 1,000, 500, and it all adds up to tens of thousands of dollars. So it's just to make me a little bit more comfortable and
If
the
you
other
like,
councilors.
if you like, make a motion, after this passes, make a motion that it be reported back to committee of the whole in 2 weeks where the money has been reallocated from.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the motion's on the floor that the town of Yarmouth sponsor a Ready for Spring Gardening Symposium at Yarmouth High School on February 21, 22 to the amount of $1,500. Is there any further discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor? Contrary? Motion carried. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. We had quite a long meeting yesterday, and there was just a couple of other items the committee asked, and I'm just bringing it to the CAO's attention. I did circulate, I believe, on my email that we'd like an update, and this is for committee of the whole. We want to make sure that the committee had asked over the past year that we look at extending the lamp post into Yarmouth South. That would be the lamp post. The committee also requested more garbage receptacles and doggy bag receptacles in the town, and also we wanted to look at additional benches in Yarmouth South. So we just want to make sure that's on the burner for budget considerations or bring it up. And a commercial, Your Worship, if I may, for those who are interested, there is a beekeeping meeting of those people who are interested in getting involved in harvesting honey and bees in the town of Yarmouth at Beacon Church on January 18th, 2013, at 2014, sorry, it's last year, at 2 p.m. So it'll be at Beacon on the 18th, that's next week, at 2 p.m. And John Hood and other people are going to be there to talk about beekeeping and what's going to be involved and various techniques you can use and da-da-da-da-da. So it'll be a good session, so it's open. They're forming a Yarmouth Beekeepers Association to try to keep it nice and professional. So 2 o'clock on Saturday, okay? So on Saturday the 18th. So my commercial, Your Worship. Thank you.
That's perfect. Good. Thank you. Councillor McIsaac, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. On the motion that was made on the $1,500, I'd like to make a motion that staff be directed to, at the committee of the whole, let them know where the $1,500 was taken from or found in the budgetary, if I
Okay.
may.
So the motion is for staff to be directed to report at the committee of the whole where the
The
$1,500
$1,500 came from.
Okay, seconded by Councillor Langell. Discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. You good, Councillor Langell? Okay. No, that's good. That's good stuff. Okay. Occupational health and safety. That's for information there. Okay. Any? You certainly can.
Since we're a little
Go
still
ahead.
early here. Jeff, we had appointed one of our staff members to the Occupation and Health and Safety as our safety person. Is he still active in that role? And if he's not active in that role, what is his job description these days, and what does he do? I forget the person's name.
Sorry, you're speaking of Chad LeBlanc.
Chad, that's correct.
So, and he's listed there in the minutes as the safety coordinator for the town of Yarmouth, and he still is active in that role. We've come a long ways in the last couple of years in terms of moving the culture of the organization to a more safety-conscious culture, and I think
I read the report, yes.
I think we've made some pretty good strides. However, I think there's still a long ways to go until we're at the point that I think we're truly a leader in terms of safety culture. So we're doing well, but
He's still in that role, is he?
he is still, but it's not in his entire role.
Not his
So
entire
he is an engineering technician, and he's assisting in the operational services office. So he does kind of special project work, whether it's overseeing capital projects or planning for capital projects, some of the traffic.
He has training and all that?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay.
He is an engineering technician. We have some of our own equipment for doing traffic counts, and so
Okay.
he puts out the equipment, takes the data afterwards, and keeps that stuff organized. So he's busy. There's and in a way that I think has been beneficial to operational services.
Yeah, okay, great, thank you. One more quick piece of information they're saying about safety and stuff. Driving through the valley last week to see a good friend of mine, Harry Varon, and in the small towns, I've noticed a lot of them, and it makes you well aware of your speed. The portable, the signs that are on the poles. I don't know if everybody had the occasion to go by the speed ones there, and it indicates, I mean, you see it flashing way before you get up to it, right, your speed, so I hope we don't forget them as part of our budget this year. Great, thank you.
Good. I've got a quick mayor's report, and nobody has it yet because I just finished it maybe 5 minutes before so my apologies, but it's a quick one. Welcome to 2014. I'm not certain where the year went, but we got through it together. As times progress, it's hard. At times, progress is hard to measure, but if you can't see it, I hope you can feel it. There's a greater sense of hope for our future, and while there's much to be done, we're on the right track. We can keep moving forward if we continue to focus on what we do have, ignore those that say we can't, and give it all we have together. This is just the beginning. So a quick update on a number of issues from the mayor's desk. The first one, it's snow removal, and I think everybody at this table has received calls, so I just wanted to address it. And I tried to be respectful, but we'll see what happens. There have been concerns recently with regard to snow removal, and I will address this. First, a huge and sincere thank you is extended to our Public Works Department. There's been more snow lately than we're used to, and the Public Works staff is working diligently at keeping things clear. Major equipment issues slowed the process for a short time, but that's being taken care of. I understand the parts are on order, and I think they're on the way. And we've even contracted some services out to keep things on track. It's also important that we understand there's a protocol to snow removal. Main throughways must be plowed and cleared first, of course, for emergency reasons. Winds blow, snow drifts over already plowed areas. Some sidewalks take longer to plow than others. Some curbs are difficult to get over, and sometimes the plow fills the foot of a driveway. Those removing the snow are aware of each of these concerns, and respectfully, what we as a community need to do is have an extra measure of patience and be thankful that in what we call the banana belt, at least we have power, because some people don't. My hope is that they are extended the courtesy due to those working hard to keep things clear. Everyone's doing their best. Recently, I don't know what made me put this in. Recently, I've been thinking about my childhood winters. The snowbanks towered over my head, meters high. The roads were snow-covered most of the winter. We earned money shoveling driveways, dug out our neighbors, didn't miss school because it might snow, and sidewalks, we cleared them ourselves by plowing through them with our big winter boots that were lovingly lined with plastic bags to keep us dry. I call it a world of less entitlement, and I think we maybe should return a little bit to that. May is a mere 16 weeks away, and everything's on track with the ferry terminal. Work's ongoing to ensure we're ready to greet the ferry, and thousands of visitors will be welcomed. I've had many questions, as I'm certain many of the councillors have, with regard to jobs related to the ferry. The ferry is owned by a private company, and I'm certain any jobs will be advertised when that company is ready to do so. The ferry jobs don't come through the town. Many of you have already expressed an interest in taking part in the Entrepreneurs Forum that is upcoming. I've received lots of emails and phone calls. A date along with information will be announced soon. I'm excited to say that NSCC and the Yarmouth Chamber of Commerce have taken the lead in this, so please stay tuned. The Western Regional Enterprise Network, the WREN, is moving forward with an expected start date of April. The process for developing the Board of Directors is nearly complete, and we hope to have the board confirmed within the next couple weeks. We're looking forward to using this economic development catalyst in developing the area. I'm excited about that one. And the all-hands-on-deck teams were meeting this week. I actually had a lot of phone calls and a lot of emails. They'll update me over the weekend, and I'll put together an update on the entire process, including which teams are up and running, where they stand, and what needs to be done. It'll be posted on the Town of Yarmouth website by the 15th of January, so take a peek on there and see if there's anything you can help with. Within the next week, I will also announce the date of the follow-up meeting that was promised at the September meeting. At that time, we'll have a list of what is left to get us shipshape, set up more teams, and call on those of you who have signed up for the fairer weather activities. I've been asked to speak in February at the FCM, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, the conference, Read This Initiative and Sustainable Communities. I wish I could bring each of you with me, as you've had the ideas, done the work, and made this all happen. There's lots more to be done, but we've done it together, and that's the only way a community will move forward, so thanks to each of the community members. Council will be very busy over the next few months as we plan for our future through planning, prioritizing, and more. While it's been a hard few years, I hope you can see the light at the end of the proverbial tunnel. I see it, and I'm excited about what the new year will bring. Short and sweet. Questions for committee chairs? Anybody? Good. Additions. So we're going to start 10A, and Councillor Lanchel, I believe that was yours. A Christmas promotion.
Yes, Your Worship, just thank you very much on that. The Christmas promotion worked out very well this year, and I just bringing it up, the CAO did mention at the last meeting that we should be looking at putting that as a budget item year after year instead of having to come in with hat in hand. And again, I just want to reiterate, I believe we didn't do a motion on that formally, and I think I'd like to tonight just make a motion that the issue of Christmas promotion for the 2014-15 fiscal year be referred to budget so that we would have it on the books.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that way we would do it. We operated well under budget. We did very well this year. We had a lot of good volunteers, and I will also commend the downtown group with the gingerbread men competition. That worked out very, very well, and both groups melded quite nicely. And we were working quite well together. In the beginning, we didn't know each other existed at the beginning, but next year we'll solve that, and we'll all get together in one big happy group. So hopefully, so it went well, and we had a good committee. So I just wanted to comment on that, Your Worship. That was that item.
I got to say, Christmas went well. It went well on every front, from the lobster splash to the lights to, I think I spoke to you briefly, Councillor Langell, but we've had calls, both of us, from as far away as BC on the Frost Park lights. And I didn't say anything before, but if we can get Candy Cane Lane going, that just gives me little, because that's what, I think that's what everybody remembers about Yarmouth. And I think as the lights were going up here, and Councillor McIsaac put the lights on down in the playground, how many people, Councillor McIsaac, asked you about Candy Cane Lane? Did they ask you? Everybody's saying, can we do that? So I'm excited about it, very. Councillor Dennis?
I just wanted to say too about the music on Main Street. When it first went up, at first there was a few people who came in who were quite upset about it, but after that it was all positive. Everybody really liked it, and they would come in and say it just made them feel alive and made downtown feel alive, so we're really grateful for that.
Yeah, exactly. And when people call and make a point to email about that, it's made a difference. Councillor Dawes?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a little add-on on Candy Cane Lane. There were a number of disappointed people that actually spoke up and stopped and complained to the people that were taking down the candy canes, the mini Candy Cane Lane down South End. They expressed their disappointment. They did not want them to be removed. So yes, it struck a very, very deep and emotional chord. And if they could have had their way, they would have kept that little Candy Cane Lane up until Easter, I'm sure.
They'll have their way again if we have to get people to sponsor it. We'll make it happen. So the motion, as I understand it, is to refer the Christmas promotions to budget. Yes. Okay? And we have a seconder. Who seconded that? I did. Okay. Councillor Dawes, is there any further discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Councillor Langell?
Yes, Your Worship. Last evening at Communities in Bloom, Barb Rodney approached me and asked me to bring this to Council's attention. If you recall, in our hall, in our lobby, the IODE put a beautiful stained glass window that was put in as the project of the centenary project for Her Majesty's birthday. Her Majesty personally wrote a letter to the local IODE thanking them for this, and it was a great honor, and the IODE was very moved by this. As a result, they have asked me if I would ask Council's permission. They would like to have this letter framed and put in the lobby with the picture, because they think that would be very suitable to have it here. And it was personally written by the Queen and signed by the Queen, which is quite rare nowadays. You don't get those too often. As I think anybody who's a monarchist knows, that's quite a thrill. So I'd like to make a motion that the letter that was received by the local chapter of the IODE be framed and hung in the lobby at Yarmouth Town Hall next to the stained glass windows.
So moved. Second by Councillor Dennis. Discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. C. That's you, Councillor.
Just to twig it, we did have a request. It was a motion earlier, Your Worship, for an internal staff review. I'm just wanted to bring it up again, maybe refer it to committee of the whole. Maybe the CAO can give us an idea of what we're looking at for that, if that's going to happen. And also, we should be looking to at the, not to get the CAO paranoid here, but the CAO's performance review, because it's just supposed to be done every year. So that time is starting to click around again, Your Worship. So just a reminder on that too, because we don't want to let that wallow too much. Thank you.
So is the motion for the, oh, okay. All right, good. And you are on, we're on D. That's you, Councillor Dawes? Email? Oh,
Am
go
I on?
ahead.
I'm on.
You're
I'm on.
good.
Thank you, Your Worship. No motion, I just wanted to share some good news. One email, I'm shuffling here, I should have been prepared, I apologize. One email that I want to read part of to you, just to share with you and everyone else. This is one of, I've received, actually this was forwarded to me. Again, I've received 2 more yesterday and 1 today. This was sent to a B&B owner from a longtime client, from longtime clients. And I'll just highlight here what has been written. How have you been? I hope all is well. Happy New Year. With the resumption of ferry service, Tim and I are planning an August visit for the nights of 18, 19, 20, 21. If you have 2 rooms available, could send deposit anytime. Looking forward. Can't wait. So more and more of these are coming in, and B&B owners are sharing them. They're passing them on. Everyone is excited. Word is out, so that's good news.
Very good.
I needed to share it.
Ah,
That's all.
that's good news. I had a couple calls last week from Massachusetts, and my daughter said, what's that long-distance number? And it was 2 couples within 2 days saying, how do I pay for the ferry and where can I stay?
And these also, naturally, they're out of town, these emails that were forwarded to me, but these were not only out of town, these were out of country.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, so news is out there. Excitement level is high.
Exactly. Approval of invoices. So moved. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Date of the next meeting, February 13th, 2014. And we need a motion to go on camera. So moved. Short and sweet. Happy New Year, everyone.